Welcome back to another video. It is Jason Pizzino. I am Jason. You're watching my channel. Today's video, I want to go back and recap many of the old videos. I want to go through a process and sort of get to where we are now and sort of why. So it could be a long video, and it generally is if it's on my channel. It's a little bit longer than I expect it to be. You can see here, title I've got here, reacting to my old videos. So I'm not going to react to the old videos, so you don't have to sit through all of that content. But I want to go back, and as you can see here, this is where I began. These are the videos from the very beginning. Now I've got like my list of things that I want to touch on because I feel like there's been a lot of change, and there was a lot of quick change as well. And I know that that can be quite difficult from your end, especially like, I notice that when it comes to other people's videos or, their channels, and they're sort of changing from 1 minute vegan, next minute this, next minute something else, traveling, then like, I'm just using mine as an example, investing, and it's kind of like, where the hell are we going and why? And I guess to briefly summarize the whole thing, if you don't want to sit through the video, totally get that, but really sort of where I've come from, where I've gone, like why I'm doing it, and it's really just a progression of who I have become and the lessons and everything else that I've learned along the way. And I feel like I need to do this because it has changed so much. So I guess looking at it is I want to wipe the slate clean and move forward in a clearer direction. And now that's not going to happen just with this one video, but I definitely feel like that's the process and that's the direction in which I'm going. I feel like I'm moving more towards feeling more comfortable with and more clearer with the self-development stuff, but also the travel stuff. And I feel like the message is becoming a lot clearer. And I hope it is seen from your end as well. But it definitely feels like that when I'm looking back and editing the videos. Basically, the direction is something that I'm going to talk about within this video and just go through like a bit of a timeline. Might be a bit sloppy, but as clear as I can, and just get us moving in that direction. So without further ado, let's start from the beginning. Now the beginning is a lot of whatever videos really. I guess it's, when I look at it here and I see the titles, I've got food videos, what I eat. I was trying to put more humor into it because that's what I like, but then I sort of realized that maybe this isn't going to be what other people watch, and I started veering away from my humor. At which a later point I started to bring that back in, but I can see here it's always been humor. It's always been interested in learning from other people. I've got some, from the very beginning, just interviews. Like, that's only a couple of videos in. This is starting 4 years ago, where I'm into my 5th year now. It's crazy. Not looking at any growth-wise. I'm just looking at it from growth on the channel, but I'm looking at it more from myself. The interviews, the talking, and the questioning of certain topics that we see in pop culture. Like here, I've got fake coaches. Like, we still see that now, 4 years, which is going on 5 years later. And just I don't know, the message just seems to be the same, but I feel like I've started to refine it and I'm talking a lot better. So that was the beginning. The numbers started to take off. I've got the views started to pick up a lot more. I think my subscriber count was I was probably hitting 1,000 or 2,000 at this point. This is moving on to the relationship. So I know that grew a lot more from that point, 2015 onwards. That was sort of like a year and a half of very explosive growth. And I guess the way I see that is that it was sort of like a story that people wanted to follow. And then I was doing more of a digital nomad lifestyle. I was, the relationship, the health, the vegan thing was picking up a lot more in 2015. Like, there was a lot of explosive growth. And I don't remember there being as many, say, vegan YouTubers like there is now. The scene has just been completely flooded, and you've got everything that you could ever imagine watching. You've got really high quality vlogs, and you've got a lot of sit down talking stuff, and you've got people who are just vegan but just like talking about other stuff. Like, vegan isn't their identity like it was back then for you to be on YouTube. And I definitely felt like I fell into that trap as well. So moving on from the relationship, the friendships which I'd formed here as well. There was Cam and Nina, this is from the early days, and Sean, and like they're the first ones I see here that are coming straight up in the vlogs. Moving on from that was a lot of the vlogging. That started taking off as well. I got really consistent, and I was I felt like I was putting a lot of effort into these thumbnails and looking for a really consistent sort of feel to it all. But then again, like some of the topics within the videos, I really didn't feel like I was living my true self. Like I felt like I'd been swept away in the political, I guess for want of a better word, more of the political left. And if you want an example of that, just check out this video. That probably scrolling is really getting to your eyes. This video back here, meat eaters grow a vag. Just the first intro, maybe the first 20 seconds of that, it is cringe, and I'm not going to put myself through that again. For the real dedicated people, you will find that video and you can cringe at that first 30 seconds of me recounting stuff. So moving on, the red pill started to come in, and that's probably a little bit later. So I'll take just a slight step back. The budgeting stuff, like here you can see with my big arrow, the digital nomad, and that is still something that I really enjoy talking about and explaining to people. And it's just, it's quite interesting and very fulfilling to see other people start and continue on the journey and then meet people within the journey themselves. You know, they've already established themselves, they're making very good incomes per month, and then they're looking for the next step above that. And I felt like I'd moved on from that when I got through, say, like Thailand, and that was 2016, but I was still living in that moment of, all right, I need to start, you know, talking about this more and explaining it more because I guess people are interested, which is something that I still want to do. So it's sort of coming full circle. And if it sounds like it's confused, it's because I felt like I have been confused with my channel. I was just kind of like letting out a lot of things here and how I was feeling about certain topics. This is one of my biggest videos there, obviously from the thumbnail. So moving on to more of the red pilly stuff, which is a long way up, but I was hinting at it in a lot of these videos. You can kind of see it. I don't want to scroll along and just like, you know, pick one out, but I remember there was a time in Chiang Mai when I was there. I think it was early 2016, and then into Vietnam 2016, where I was talking about a lot of topics that people weren't 100% responsive to within the vegan, like the stereotypical vegans. It wasn't very like left-wing stuff. Like I was more about the children and the family, and I definitely remember there being a video back here about that, like having kids, and my ex at the time was against having kids. So that was quite a different thing to be putting forward, especially when the word of the moment was to get vasectomies. That was a weird thing. So if you're just tuning into my channel and you're seeing this, like that was part of the dogma at the time, and I think it's starting to creep its way back into politics again. You know, if I've missed certain points, I'm seeing it now, especially with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, something, AOC, I forget her name, I think that's why everyone calls it AOC, the Democrat congresswoman from New York. At the moment, I saw just a brief snippet from someone else's video that she was saying it's probably not good for the environment to be having children. Like that's a question we need to ask ourselves. I am completely on the opposite end of the spectrum. I think it's the way we live, in which we live, treat the environment around us. This world can support billions more people. It's just we are not efficient in the way we live and the way we run things. We are getting more efficient because that's the path in nature, is to become more efficient. That's what we do in the universe. It's about becoming more efficient. Anyway, moving on from that, the red pill started kicking in, especially after the breakup, and just associating with different people, you know, sort of get swept into the, especially in Greece, there were a lot of people who were still very blue-pilled, I feel like, and I know I'm using these terms randomly, interchangeably, probably not exactly giving a clearer picture, but I guess what I'm getting at is I felt like I started to think for myself again, and then started to question the way I was thinking previously. Was I just following the path of what the stereotype of veganism was saying? Or is that what I actually thought and felt? Had I done enough research towards it as to why I was thinking that way? So that leads me on into more of the red pill topics after I came back from my 2016 trip into Europe. And you can see here, lots of good time in Ibiza, boom, titties on a floaty in the Mediterranean, hanging out with Harry and Ruby, you can see down here. Lots of great times. John Venus in this. It was pretty fucking wicked. So I'm looking forward to heading back there again this year. So yeah, I want to carry on with these vlogs because I did feel like there was a lot of progress through there. But then I took some time off in 2000. 2016 got a bit slow, and then 2017 I took a fair bit of time off, and that led us back here to bring in some new videos. The views were still flowing, but I guess the core, the way I had built the audience, you guys that were watching, it started to change a lot. And before it was travel, and it was, from what even Bethany and some other friends said, it was sort of like more inspiring. I kind of got a bit spiteful towards stuff, and you can see here that the politics came into it, and crypto was starting to take off. I got into this a lot earlier than a lot of people, so I was very grateful for that. And investment's always been a very big interest of mine. So I tried to bring that in, but I know it's not a major thing for other people. It takes quite a bit to get your head around. And if you're more of a creative, artsy sort of person, investing in numbers just isn't your thing. So I've gone from the travel and the food and the relationship stuff into the investing. So that's kind of a big switch. And I'm just trying out lots of things because this is just like a hobby for me, and it's just a way I can feel I can express myself and to grow from that. So the politics came in, people really didn't like this. I started to drop off a lot because, like I said, it's not the stereotypical way of seeing the world from the collective veganism mind. Now, I'm not against these things, but it's just more I like to ask questions and have the discussion. Transgender movement, the male feminists, the SJWs, the people who just want you to think in a certain way, and I'm not about that. This is growing out of that and extending your mind. Then we get into the investments a lot heavier, the Trump stuff, the politics, because like I've said in many of the videos, which people just take at face value of a thumbnail and a title, is it's not about the left and the right as such. It's just about seeing the overall picture and what's going on behind the facades that we're given in the news. This kind of led on for a bit of time, and as you can see, the view started to decline and drop, and I was really I felt like I was at a crossroads. I felt like I was switching my message far too much, but at the same time I felt like I was still staying true to myself. So I'm sort of questioning, well, how can I make all of this mold together? I kind of am at times still searching for that answer, and I feel like it's starting to come about that it is going back, way back to 4 years ago, into just live like, I'm not into these politics things all day, every day. I love exploring and traveling, and I also love training a lot, and I absolutely love food. As much as I try and get away from the what I eat and I talk about it and give it shit, I love food way too much, and food is very prevalent in my life, and I talk about it a lot here, especially with the intermittent fasting starting up in the last, since June, July of 2018. It's, we're going on sort of 8-9 months now. That is a big thing for me. So the food, the travel, the politics stuff is still in there, but I really don't want to head to that direction because a lot of people are doing it far better than I am, and it just doesn't bring about a good feel for me. And it doesn't really feel like growth when you're just discussing political topics all the time. I want to bring the way that we are taught to think about certain political things into the way we live our own life. And if we can cross those two over and learn from how we think about the world and how that relates to our life, that is my bigger purpose. And as I can find a way to incorporate the two, that is where I feel that the channel is going to head, that direction. And I feel like I can still do the travel, the vlogs, the food, and also the investing and living self-sufficiently. That's what I feel like the two blend together, being that it's how we question the world we live in and how we apply that to our own lives, and then how we become self-sufficient in our own way of thinking and then applying that in the real world. That is what I originally really loved about YouTube, and that's where I felt like I was going to take my channel before I sort of got swept down the path of just doing what I eat vlogs and not really giving much more depth to the videos. And that's what strayed me away from doing YouTube so much. I'm going to make this a bit bigger because we don't really see so much of that. We're pretty much at the beginning. That's back to where we are now. So from what you can see there, I feel like I've come full circle, but with 4 years of growth, I feel much more stable in how I can deliver a message. I feel far more happy with what I'm doing, And I've never really been unhappy. I just have questioned, is this the right thing to do? I've questioned it in more of like a conservative lack mentality way, that I felt like it couldn't go on forever. Whereas now I feel like it is definitely what I'm going to do forever, investing, and then also what you see here, the YouTube channel, and I don't know, sharing my thoughts and wisdoms along the way. So I feel like I've gone through everything here. The main stuff I didn't touch on is the new relationship. So my new life, like I've mentioned here, the new channel direction, it will become more concrete and more like easy to understand. But I think it's essentially, the way I'm viewing it is the path to self-sufficiency, mindset and application. And what that means is, can we look after our own wealth, look after our own money? And that's why cryptocurrency is quite a main topic of mine, and investing, and then looking after yourself. Even if you don't want to know about cryptocurrency, looking after yourself and how you can earn your own way in life and not have to rely on a job. Because come another financial downturn, a lot of those jobs are gone and you have to find your own way again. Personally, I feel like I can rely on myself a lot more than I can rely on a company giving me a job. That's why I've gone the entrepreneur path from a very early age of 2021. So that was the life, the mindset, the message, being self-sufficient, and then also the health. Sorry, just quickly on the health. That's why it's, they're there to look after your food, what goes into your body, what goes out of your body, what goes out of your mind, what goes into your mind, physically, how you are moving your body. I've gotten so much more physical in the last couple of weeks and months, and yeah, basically from there, after I got better from my back injury. But just so much more training. Probably the most training I've been doing since I was a kid at school. That is now, but it's a lot heavier. It's a lot more involved, and it's a lot more broad as well. I've got yoga in there. I've got swimming, surfing. I've got CrossFit. I've got resistance training. List goes on. But I will be sharing a lot more of that, like I do in my Instagram. I show a lot of that as well, because it just all goes together. And the last thing is the new relationship. It is the best relationship, hands down, that I have ever had in my life. And it's not to take away from the previous relationships, because that has all built me up to get here. If I was the same person I was when I was 22 in my first major relationship, the ex that I got married to, which was Coraline, I would not be having this relationship now. And if I was still the same person like I was with the ex Henya, I would not be the person I am now, being so much more happy and have found such a beautiful person to share my life with, and have a family with, and grow with, and travel with. It's just so much more freeing, and I'm glad I had those experiences to get to what I have now. With that said, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to thank you all for watching it this far. If you made it through, thank you very much. Remember to like, share, subscribe. I am going to be traveling Europe again. It's been 3 years since I first laid out on that journey in 2016. I hope to make it as exciting as I did last time. Catch up with many of the people who I first made friends with in 2016, Harry in Ibiza, and some of the crew in Greece, and some other people that I've just newly got into contact with in Italy, who are also on this journey of being attached in one way and then breaking free, and sort of going through that chaotic moment of trying to figure out, well, if that wasn't me, who am I now? And then they've come through the other end, and they're just delivering like a nice positive message without the victim mentality of the left, and without the arrogance and bullshit of the right, politically speaking. And you're just sort of like going through your own growth stage. I'm looking forward to Europe. There's still a couple of months left until we head off. I'm just looking at the date there. We're in March. We're heading in late May, early June. We've got Hawaii soon. Anyway, stick around. Lots of travel vlogs like the old days, but just with that next level of growth thrown in there. I'm excited. Thanks again for joining me, guys. I'll see you at the next video. But remember, until next time, I was nearly going to say cut carbs, cut life, because I was just watching some of my old videos. Have more fun and get more done. Peace out.